When people ask, what's the difference between Chinese and Taiwanese culture? My first thought is usually, ugh, do you just want to argue? But then I realized it's actually a valid question and kind of an important one. Because culture is what makes people fall in love with a place. It's what turns geography into identity. So naturally, people want to know, okay, but what's yours? The problem is, culture isn't always immediately visible. It's full of emotional baggage, like the life of an emperor's concubine. Beautiful, elegant, also quietly suffering under 17 layers of silk and expectations. So let's try to unpack this. Chinese culture versus Taiwanese culture. Hi, I'm seriously Taiwan Matters. I'm a Taiwanese American living in Europe. This is not my real face because, privacy. But this is my real voice, my real office, and yes, those are my real guinea pigs. For a big part of my life, when I thought of my culture, I thought of the ancient stuff. Dynasties, Confucius, classical literature, ceramics, chopsticks, basically anything you find in a museum gift shop. Which makes sense because that's what we were taught. In Taiwan, from 1949 through the 1980s, the entire school curriculum was China-centric. 5,000 years of history, the myths behind festivals. I could tell you the capitals of Chinese provinces, but not name 3 rivers in Taiwan. And then there was this one interesting detail. In Taiwan, we were taught it was our duty to rescue China from communism. I'm pretty sure in China, they were taught to rescue us from democracy. I still remember my first grade textbook. It showed people in China eating tree bark and banana peels, but no one explained what happened to the bananas. Thankfully, Taiwan started localizing education in the late 80s. But here's the thing. If culture is just your school curriculum, then yeah, China and Taiwan looked pretty similar when I was a kid. But if culture is the stuff you do without thinking, then the difference? Massive, like different planets. Let me give you an example. In China, I once asked a hotel concierge where to find local food. He looked at me and said, "There are restaurants in the alley next to the hotel. If you find them acceptable, eat. If not, don't." Then he walked away. This was a 5-star hotel. And yes, I asked in Mandarin. No language barrier. Now, in Taiwan, you could ask a stranger at a park, "Hey, what's a good place to eat around here?" And you'll get, "Oh, what kind of food do you like? There's this one stall, she's been there for 30 years. And there's another one that's open late. Do you want spicy?" Same question, same language, completely different vibe. Taiwanese people aren't overly polite. They're just genuinely considerate. They'll comment on your life, your body, your dating choices, not to judge, just to make sure you're okay. There's a softness to it, a personal warmth. When my father was in the hospital, a nurse came back for a daily check. She said, "Uncle, you look good today. How are your smoke cravings?" My dad said, "I didn't smoke today. I'm trying to quit." She lit up and said, "You're amazing. 100 points from me. So much better than my dad. He's still being very naughty." Now, I've lived in Western countries for over 30 years. So part of me thought, whoa, that's a lot. But my dad, he smiled. She made him feel respected, like someone who mattered, like her own father. She didn't do that as a performance. It just came out of her, because that's what culture is, the stuff you do without noticing. And that's how Taiwan is soft but strong, gentle but deeply rooted. No slogans, no propaganda, just a nurse calling my dad uncle and giving him 100 points for being alive. Now, compare that to China. China is loud, assertive. They see boundaries and go, "Oh, whose line is it anyway?" When I see Chinese Communist fans, also known as little pinks, taunting Taiwanese, or people shouting, "Taiwan is part of China," at a sports event, I don't just think, oh, they were brainwashed, Because guess what? I was brainwashed too. In the 70s, I was taught we were supposed to bring democracy back to China. This isn't just about what we're taught. It's about what a culture encourages you to be. Culture is how you express yourself when no one is looking. And when two Taiwanese athletes were taunted at a match in China, they just chuckled, shook hands with their opponents, and walked away. Nobody taught them how to do that. They just knew. I get why it's confusing from the outside. Same language, similar food, both take off shoes indoors. But underneath, different operating systems. China runs on dominance, on zero-sum logic. Taiwan runs on collaboration, on improvisation. We don't need to win the conversation. We just think a respectful dialogue is the adult thing to do. No need to bomb fishes out of the Taiwan Strait. Taiwan is small, but not small-minded. It ranks 22nd in the world by GDP, 6th in global freedom rankings. It's not mini China. It's what China cannot become. Taiwan's culture is open because it had to be. We've been shaped by waves. Indigenous traditions, Dutch colonizers, Spanish colonizers, a brief appearance by a Ming Dynasty pirate with noble branding, Qing Dynasty, 50 years of Japan, and more recently, America with democracy and McDonald's. And despite 50 years of Japanese colonization, we don't even hate them. We kept the good stuff, city planning, sushi, and an unexplainable obsession with everything kawaii. Meanwhile, in China, resentment still runs deep, fueled daily by the official narratives. Why the contrast? It's not just about who hurt you. It's about how you choose to grow. Not everyone with a bad childhood becomes a serial killer. And not every country with trauma has to hold a grudge forever. So yes, Taiwan and China share history. We even study a lot of the similar literature. But history is just the backstory. And literature is just for book clubs. Culture is the behavior. And behavior-wise, we're not just different. We're different in all the ways that matter. Please subscribe and check out our other videos.